Cthulhu. We're going to get working through some of the Alone Against Thee series, and we are on Alone Against the Tide. I can't remember how many we've done, but we are exploring the Emberhead. We're exploring Emberhead with Eleanor Woods, scrappy Eleanor Woods, who has been quite lucky, although I did look up. So how much luck does Eleanor have left? Oh, where's Eleanor's sheet? It's here. Eleanor has 22 luck remaining, because I looked it up, and Eleanor gets no opportunities to get their luck back whilst playing this game. So she's going to have to start being careful with that resource. She has 22 luck points left and has utilised that quite extensively to pick some locks and dodge getting shot at. We are on section 207, which I'm just erasing. I do a gentle pencil mark around it where I'm just erasing that. Rubbing it out, innit? Give it a good old rubbing. And so we will pick up the story as Eleanor is about to enter the bedroom of Amelia Harris, the widow of Professor Harris, who has left the building chasing after the lad who tried to shoot Eleanor. I don't know where that police officer's disappeared to. The police officer was here knocking on the door. Eleanor hid, snuck upstairs, broke into the study, has acquired a ritual, and now is about to explore the bedroom. You push aside the door and enter the bedroom. The room is lavishly decorated and very feminine. Large, soft pillows sit atop the bed, and a tangle of sheets and blankets lay strewn across the mattress. Judging by the state of the room, this space belonged more to Amelia than it did to Professor Harris, even before his death. The room is dominated by her personal effects. A makeup case sits on the dresser, with a hand mirror beside it. The door to the closet is open. The racks inside overflow with various dresses and fashionable outfits. The clothes belonging to the late Professor Harris take up a very small and innocuous corner of the closet, pushed far to the side so as not to get in the way of Amelia's things. The most surprising find you stumble upon is a small pile of discarded men's clothing next to the bed. It seems to have been left there recently, and given the difference in style and size to the men's clothes in the closet, it's clear they don't belong to Professor Harris. Your suspicion is confirmed when you see a photograph of Joshua, he's the one who tried to shoot us, on the nightstand. There's also a half-empty bottle of whiskey there and 2 glasses sitting next to it. You also happen to notice a safe built into the wall, just behind the nightstand. A combination lock keeps it sealed, though if you were so inclined, you may be able to crack it. There's little else of interest in the room, so we can attempt to open the safe with a locksmith roll, or we can leave the room. Alright, let's try, because we've got quite good locksmithing, if I remember rightly. 50%. Let's try and unlock the safe. Let's get me beautiful starter set dice out. Lovely, lovely green, and the bonus dice blue. So we'll get our percentiles. We need to roll under 50%. 69. Oh, are we allowed to push it? Can we just push it, or can we only push it if it tells us we can push the roll? I will quickly look this up. Shouldn't take long. Pushing the roll doesn't mention it. Can we push it? What happens if we push it? If we push it, there's no DM to give us a bad thing, is there? I could burn 19. That will really leave Amelia out of luck. I'm going to burn 19. I'm going to burn 19 points, getting it to 50. That gives us what's that give? That gives us 3 luck left. That's getting really low. So that puts that to 50, which I shouldn't have done that. Which gets us to open the safe. Let's see what's in the safe. It's going to be nothing, isn't it? It's going to be a waste of luck. You take an ear and begin twisting the combination slowly, listening for the sound of the clicks, feeling for the light stopping of the dial with a successful guess of the number. You repeat this process a few more times and the safe door unlatches and swings open. I added the unlatches bit, with a barely perceptible creak. The contents of the safe are fairly sparse. There's a stack of documents on the bottom shelf, passports, birth certificates and financial papers. A quick look at them reveals nothing of interest. They're tied to both Amelia and William Harris, so it appears as if the safe hasn't been opened since the professor's death. There's also a solitary small gold bar, a little over £2 a kilo in weight, 2.2 pounds a kilo. Oh, that'll be 2.2 in weight, sitting off to one side. Considering the trouble you went through to get to this point, you place the gold bar in your pocket as compensation. Yeah, there was nothing in there. I burnt. I'll write down gold bar 1 kilo. Born after 1971, so ideal in kilos and pound, shilling and pence. Shillings and pence? No, pound, shillings and pence is old money. I'm metric. I'm metric, baby. At last, I'm actually a metric baby. At last, now you won't be leaving empty-handed. Satisfied with nothing more to see in this room, you leave and move on. Ah, we burnt that luck for nothing. I'm looking for the pages that have been torn out of his journal. I thought they'd be in there. You get ready to leave the Harris's household as you feel your business here is concluded. You pause at the door a moment to consider what your next step should be. You know you spent a good deal of time at the Harris's place, and though the fog prevents you from making out the time of day, you imagine there's not much daylight left. To investigate Joshua's house, go to 151. To return to the hotel, go to 153. Oh, because we got the key, didn't we? We did. We got Joshua's address and key. Yeah, let's go to the house. Oh man, we're gonna get shot. 151. I saw someone reviewing this. It was very funny. He basically said that he failed every single roll bar one and ended up getting shot by the police chief. His path was different, so I didn't get any sort of advantage. 151. You make your way through Esbury's. Oh, it's Esbury's Emberhead. Where's Emberhead then? Through Esbury's streets, confirming your whereabouts every so often by approaching a building to check the address against the location you're searching for. After some time, you arrive at Joshua's house. Really, I've only been going 7 minutes. You insert the key in the lock and open the door into a small living area. Glancing around, you see a compact living room and kitchen. I suppose he can't get into the house, can he? I've got his key. There are 2 doors at opposite ends of the common area. The door to your left... Oh, is he unconscious? The door to your left is wide open and you can see a set of stairs leading down. The door to your right is closed. You assume it leads to the bedroom. Let's check the bedroom first and then go downstairs. Because I've got a feeling we might get trapped downstairs. At least the bedroom, if he comes in, we can leg it. 202. Oh, this is quite big. You open the door to find a bedroom, much as you'd expected. The room clearly belongs to a bachelor, as the only feminine object is a set of lace sleepwear laying across the bed. You look to a nearby nightstand and find several framed photographs of Joshua and Amelia, so you assume the clothes are hers. Peeking out of a drawer in the nightstand is an open box of bullets, as well as several bottles of bootleg whiskey. You scan the rest of the room. The only other object of note is a dresser. You search it and find it to be full of men's clothing, the sort that Joshua would wear. However, as you're rifling through his things, you find an envelope. Turning it over, you see it's unsealed, and judging by the crumpled state of it, the letter inside has been read over several times. You pull out the letter and begin reading. It appears to be a correspondence between Joshua and a Dr. Webber, based out of Arkham. Webber is apparently a psychotherapist that Joshua sees on a monthly basis. According to the letter, the past few months have been quite difficult for Joshua. In addition to his criminal activities and his relationship with Amelia, he has been troubled by strange dreams, which Dr. Webber labelled as obsessive delusions. Joshua has a fixation with a particular dream of a beautiful city in a far-off land. Oh, we read about this. He describes the city as made of marble and says that sometimes he wakes up crying because he has to leave it behind in his dreams. He also reports seeing a frightening lizard thing in the water off the shore of this strange city. Oh, it's empty. Sometimes in the night, it whispers that it knows the way to the city. Though the lizard thing scares him, he listens to the whispers. Joshua professes a deep desire to go to the city, though he doesn't know where it is or even if it's real. For his part, Dr. Webber assures Joshua that these things are completely fictitious, that he must find a way to return to reality and leave the delusions behind. You return the letter to its envelope, then slip everything back where you found it, thinking about how this affects the course of events here in Esbury. Silently, you return to the main area of the house. You may now investigate the basement or leave the house. Let's go down to the basement. 156. 156. 156. You cautiously descend the stairs, which creak beneath your feet. When you reach the bottom, you find yourself in a dank and dusty basement, illuminated by a single dim and flickering bulb that dangles precariously from the ceiling. The room smells faintly of cigar smoke. You notice an old table across from you, on which sits a strange collection of items: a pair of cracked clay cylinders, a gemstone-studded altar with various scrolls, a stack of papers. Well, there isn't an unnatural stack of papers or an unnatural. We've got those, but I understand what it's doing. Behind the table is a still and other bootlegging equipment. You might consider looking over the items you have found here, or you could simply leave the basement alone. Look over the items. 210. Unless these are the real ones and I've bought a copy, I want my money back. 210. You stand over the table of curious artifacts, confident they have something to do with the strange events in Esbury. You decide it's best to look them over and glean what information you can from them. You begin by leafing through the stack of notes. You realise they contain some of the same characters that were written on some of the ancient items. You may be able to use these notes to assist in any translation attempts you wish to make. There is also an empty stack on the table that was used to bring these... An empty sack, on the table that was used to bring these relics here. You're free to load them back up and take them with you. After examining each item, it will be added to your inventory and you will be redirected back to this entry or given the option to proceed as appropriate. You should not select any option more than once. When you're ready, feel free to leave. Right, let's check these things. So we've already looked at the journal because we've got it. We haven't really looked at the clay cylinder. We have the altar. No, we have the idol. So we will look at the clay cylinder, which is 218. Well, let's double check the journal 240, because if it's not the same one, looking through the book, you become deeply engrossed and spend the next few hours in study. The time spent yields very fresh. You made several trips to. You finished reading my glossing over the last week. Yeah, no, that is the same. 210. I think that's the same. Brick cylinders cauldron. They hadn't identified the other objects. The next few pages have been torn from the. Yes, it is the same. Okay, so clay cylinder 218. You turn the hardened clay cylinders over in your hands, your eyes falling on the large cracks running through both items. Despite this damage, their solid construction has led to the cylinders surviving throughout the ages. The next most obvious quality of the strange writing is that it's plastered along the side of each cylinder. It's quite remarkable, in fact, that it doesn't resemble any language known to you. Using the notes on the table, you attempt to translate it. Make an archaeology roll. If you succeed, go to 204. Alright, what's my archaeology? I think my archaeology is good. That's archaeology 70. 48. Correct. Good old us. If you succeed, go to 204. 204. You turn the hardened clay cylinders over in your hand and squint to make out the tiny script pressed into their sides. Consulting the notes stacked beside you, you begin to work out a rough translation. The cylinders tell the story of the lake mist green beings of I guess. With their bulging eyes, pouting flabby lips, curious ears and voiceless mouths. It speaks of the origins of these strange beings, how they descended one night from the moon in a mist, and gave praise to the chiselled sea stone idol of Bugra, beneath the gibbous moon. It goes on to describe their strange city of stone and their ritual destruction of precious metals to appease this detestable water lizard. The tale is perplexing and impossible, but if true, it is rather frightening. You recall the green mist outside and note with alarm that the moon is gibbous tonight. As you place the clay cylinders in the sack, you glance over at the sea green idol nearby and are farther chilled by what this might portend. Increase your chaos mythos by 2%. Go to 210. Wow. Alright. So back to 210. Mythos, chaos mythos, chaos mythos, chaos mythos. 2%. Okay. Clay cylinders we've looked at. Gemstone altar. We haven't looked at the gemstone altar yet. 230. There's an inappropriate joke there. 230. You examine the extraordinary altar. The most readily apparent features beyond its size are the many gemstones set into its surface. They are of a greenish yellow colour and shine even in the half light of the room. You notice strange lettering written in broad strokes along the object's sides. The symbols are smeared and sloppily done, suggesting that they were written with some haste. What you had originally taken for as paint, upon closer examination, is dried blood. While you cannot be certain, it would appear as if this item has been involved in some tragedy. Using the notes on the table, you may be able to piece together a translation of the text written in blood. Make an archaeology roll. Okay. It's still 70%. Oh, 3! My lord, that fellow I watched that review, he will be crying if he saw these rolls. Succeed, go to 178. 17. I like these dice. Wow, now they're going to roll badly, aren't they? 178. You fix your eyes first on the strange altar and then on the stack of notes. Rifling through them, you're able to piece together the characters written in dried blood on the altar's side. Bogrog brings doom to Saraneth. As you look over the altar, you also notice small letters, this time written in ink, hidden just beneath the large bloody characters. The smaller text appears to be some form of chant. Yagra nog glith ak bagra. Oh, we've got this. We know this. The words stick in your mind. We know. Yeah, 2, 3, 4. We've already know this chant. As you begin stuffing the religious objects back into the sack, you note a similar script on the other side of the altar, written in fresh blood. Most of the characters are the same, but you once again consult the notes to finish the translation. You decode the missing word to find the text now reads, Bagra brings doom to Esbury. Somewhat unnerved, you finish shoving the altar into your bag, knowing that this is evidence of some sort of cult practice or deranged religious belief. The thought does not sit well with you. You've learned a ritual chant, note it on your investigator sheet, so we've already got that written down. Ritual chant, entry 235. Go to 210. Okay, so we've looked at the journal, we double checked that, we looked at the clay cylinder, we looked at the altar. Let's double check whether the idol is the same. Idol, green sea monster, uncomfortable looking at it, go to 210. Okay. Check the bedroom upstairs. We check the bedroom upstairs. Leave the house. 181. So we're gonna grab this sack and peg it. 181. We're gonna do one. You decide that you've seen enough of Joshua's house and that you have no reason to linger here. You exit the building and close the door behind you. You look out into the fog and find it thicker than you remember. You can see almost nothing. Compounding this problem is the darkness, which has completely fallen while you're inside. Armed with new knowledge, you feel prepared to confront what lies ahead of you. You take a few steps out into the street and are shocked to find that the town's cobblestones are waterlogged. The lake's water level is rising, and Esbury is beginning to flood. Given early events, you suspect this may not be entirely natural. Even if it is, the rapidly rising water is a serious threat in itself. You feel a twinge of fear, but overcome it and spur yourself into action. You know you must escape the flood and that you must act quickly. If you know where to meet with Banu, now is the time you may choose to do so. I don't. To search for higher ground and hope to avoid the rising waters, 211. To try to outrun the rising tide, 194. To meet up with Banu, check the entry number noted on your invite. No, we don't. So we're gonna how do you outrun a rising tide? Let's look for higher ground. 211. I've got a sense that this is a bad idea. 211. 211. Oh, maybe not. You try to find somewhere you can wait out the flood. Somewhere at a high somewhere at a high... I can't think of the word. Elevation? It's not elevation. It's... Oh, I'm going to pause this. It's elevation. Dear me, sorry. It's the old brain. A high elevation that won't be consumed by rising water. Like I've said previously, I am educated. I've got a degree and a postgraduate certificate in education, and I was doing a degree in psychology. But there's easier ways of becoming a counsellor. Thanks to the darkness and the fog, you won't be able to scan the town skyline to look for such a place, and will instead have to rely upon your memory. Well, weird uncle. The only place close that comes to mind would be the nearby church. If the worst should happen, you could climb up into the bell tower and wait out the flood. You rush towards the house of worship. You see its solid grey stonework peeking out at you from the fog, providing a sense of comfort and security. You push open the church's large double doors and slip inside, quickly closing the doors behind you in hopes that they will at least buy you some time before the water seeps in. You rush to the stairs leading up to the bell tower and climb them as quickly as you can. You soon find yourself looking out over Esbury. The town itself is shrouded in mist, but from this high vantage point you can see over the fog to the lake beyond. Large, undulating waves break the surface of the normally placid waters, and the stars and gibbous moon are brightly reflected from the dark backdrop. Finding yourself in relative safety, you finally have a moment to pause and reflect. You take a deep breath, bowing your head in thought, or perhaps prayer? Your mind is a whirl, but eventually a single thought breaks through, determining your course of action. If you know a ritual chant, now is the time you may choose to use it. Check the entry number noted on your investigator sheet and go to it. I do. 235. We only just learnt it again. 2, 3, 5. The words of the ritual chant force themselves into your mind. You stare blankly at the reflection of the moon and stars upon the rising waters of the lake. Your lips move as if controlled by something else, automatically uttering the words and syllables of the unfamiliar sounds. I read that completely wrong, but anyway. Yaga nog uglu a bograg. If you never see me again, then we know that I've triggered something by butchering those syllables. You recite the words in a slow, monotonous voice, speaking the phrase 10 times before you stop. You feel strangely tired after this, so you sit on the belfry's stones and look out over the town. The water has risen so high over the tops of many of the buildings at Esbury that you're positioned on one of the very few landmarks still above the water. You're certain that much damage has been done down there. At least the water is still and placid now, apparently returned to its normally peaceful state. The unnatural green mist seems to be dissipating as well. It still lingers here and there, but by the light of the gibbous moon you can see the fog starting to thin out. You take a deep breath and ponder what is to come next. If you have the strange idol, go to 205. We do have the strange idol. 205. Exhaustion overtakes you. You lean back, close your eyes and drift into a deep slumber. Your sleep is disturbed by strange and horrific dreams. You see a shining city of marble, onyx and lustrous gems. You see this magnificent city in all of its splendour, sitting next to a placid lake. And then, in an instant, it's gone, as the water raises up and swallows it. The lizard thing of the idol given life and power, surges up from the water. The being eyes you with malicious sentience as the waters swell and consume you. You exist in this state for what feels like an eternity, drifting through the sunken ruins alongside this horrible lizard thing. It eyes you closely, scrutinising your every motion, but it never acts, merely watching you with checked malevolence. Malevolence? I don't think I've said that right, but you know what I mean. As you stare into its eyes, you begin to wish it would just simply consume you, so you wouldn't have to be under its watchful gaze any longer. This becomes a maddening desire, and you find yourself willingly swimming towards the thing. It opens its jaws to receive you, revealing row after row of needle-like teeth. Just as you're about to offer yourself to the creature, you finally wake up. You find yourself dangling over the edge of the belfry, about to roll into the flooded town below and lose yourself in the waters. You quickly pull back towards the centre of the platform for safety. As you do so, a glimmering within your sack catches your eye. You reach inside to find the source and extract the sea green stone idol. It shimmers with a bluish white light of angry intensity. Looking at it pains your eyes. You consider throwing the damnable thing into the water below, but something stops you. A thought creeps into your mind, taking shape and driving your actions. Make a power roll. If you succeed, go to 219. If we fail, go to 230. Right, our power is 50. As long as it's 53, we should be alright. Oh, 64! This is the end. Our beautiful Eleanor friend, the end. Okay, so we fail. Go to 234. We do not have enough luck to correct that. What is this going to do to us? A thought takes shape in your mind and clarity takes hold, but the thought is not your own. You see visions of the strange reptilian beast, that detestable water lizard. You stare into its eyes, hypnotised as it hisses at you, beckoning you forwards. You heed its call. Your feet move you forwards, carrying you over the edge of the belfry and into the waters below. You don't thrash about. You don't swim, or struggle, or resist. You simply sink, welcomed into the risen waters' embrace. You have died. You have died, led to your demise by the will of the bugruff, the great water lizard. The great old one has ensnared you, ensured that doom has come to the little lakeside town. There are no survivors. Eventually the idol will be found, and the process will begin again. But this is of no concern to you. Your visit to Esbury is over. The end.